Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So of course this weekend we have the much anticipated rematch between Oleksandr Usyk and Anthony Joshua. Of course, first time around last September, Oleksandr Usyk won by a unanimous decision in a relatively comprehensive win for him. And you know, this rematch has been long spoke about, and here we are, finally fight week, and there's a few things in which I would like to talk about. Now, the build up to this fight has been very interesting for a couple of reasons. Obviously, speculation surrounding Joshua and how he approaches this fight. First time around, of course, Anthony Joshua, I think the narrative is that he tried to box with Oleksandr Usyk, and he did. And when I say that, I mean he was very focused on trying to get lead foot position against the southpaw and also lead hand control over Oleksandr Usyk. Whereas, as we know, that is Oleksandr Usyk's bread and butter. He's got amazing footwork, tremendous lead hand control, and Anthony Joshua was playing a tit-for-tat game of trying to establish that lead foot against the southpaw and also lead hand control. And looking back, I don't really think it was because he was trying to outbox Usyk per se. I know that's what he said, but ultimately when it comes to Joshua, I think he says things that he believes people want him to say. I believe he was trying to basically just line Usyk up for one perfect shot and knock him out. And yeah, he just got picked off in the process. But yeah, going into this rematch, many people, including myself, have said that Joshua needs to be more aggressive going into this fight. He needs to be more forceful, you know, act like the big man in there, because when you look at that first fight, I don't really think there was any moments where Usyk felt like the smaller man, like he was up against it physically. And I think Joshua needs to somehow impose that on Usyk in this rematch. How he goes about that is the million-dollar question. And yeah, I think Joshua in this bout needs to be more forceful. He needs to be going for the knockout, because in a fair world where this fight is judged correctly, I can't see a way where Joshua beats Usyk on points unless he scores like maybe a couple of knockdowns. I think Joshua winning on points, if this was all fair and down the middle, would be very unlikely. So for me, Joshua needs to somehow approach this fight in a more aggressive fashion, and yeah, go for the knockout basically. But the more I see from Anthony Joshua and the shape I see that he's in, I wonder whether he's going to try to pull the old Uno reverse card and do something completely different, because on fight week, both guys arrived in Saudi Arabia yesterday, and I had a look at Anthony Joshua, and to me at least, I know it's hard to tell when they're not at the weigh-in, but to me Joshua looks slimmer. He looks like he's slimmed down. Maybe that is purely for stamina, and that is not going to affect his actual game plan. Maybe that's why he slimmed down, because obviously in the first fight, he finished that fight quite badly. He gassed quite badly. If you look at the end of that fight, he was gasping for breath, something serious. So maybe him being slimmer is just to combat that and maybe give him a bit more stamina. But maybe he's actually planning to box in this fight. And again, people will say, well, he tried that in the first fight and he got outboxed. Well, not really, because he was still standing with Usyk. Again, he was playing that tit-for-tat battle to try and get lead hand control. He was trying to get his foot on the inside of Oleksandr Usyk and get lead foot positioning to land that hard straight shot. He was standing with Usyk. What if Anthony Joshua approaches this fight like he did Andy Ruiz too, where primarily he is actually boxing on the back foot and he's making Oleksandr Usyk be the aggressor. He's making Usyk chase the fight and come forwards and chase him down. Now, I think even with that style, I think it's risky for Anthony Joshua, because, listen, Oleksandr Usyk, if that is the case and he tries to do that, he will offer a lot more pressure than Andy Ruiz. He will make Anthony Joshua work a lot harder on that back foot. But ultimately, when you look at Oleksandr Usyk, he's not at his very best when he's chasing a fight, when he's forced to be the aggressor. Don't get me wrong, he's much better at it than Andy Ruiz because he will be still very active with his lead hand. He will be trying to draw the lead as he comes forwards to try and counter, things of that nature. But he's not as effective as an all-out pressure fighter. And I wonder whether Anthony Joshua is going to try to approach this fight that way and actually box on the back foot, stick the jab, move, try to keep his back off the ropes and make Oleksandr chase the fight. Again, I'm still not convinced he can outpoint Usyk doing that in a fair world, but if he's somewhat competitive and he lands some jabs here and there and he maintains range relatively effectively, I mean, in Saudi Arabia, considering what is on the line here and the money involved, I'm sure the judges will score these rounds to Anthony Joshua. I know when you talk about these sort of mega fights, when there's a clear A side and there's a lot of money involved, I know a lot of people don't like you talking about this sort of thing prior to a fight. I've got no idea why. I mean, I guess it's like the old battered wife syndrome, you know. But people don't like you talking about it for whatever reason, but it's a reality when it comes to boxing, and we see it happen time and time again. And that's why that particular style might actually be beneficial for Anthony Joshua if he can box this fight on the back foot and try to stay at arm's length from Oleksandr Usyk. And if he's a little better than he was first time around, let's say he wins 1 or 2 more rounds on our scorecards, then he could very well easily win this fight on points. In fact, Anthony Joshua said something very revealing after the first fight, and he said basically, and I am paraphrasing, if I won a couple more rounds, I would have got a draw on the scorecards. And maybe that's his mindset going into this fight. Maybe consciously, maybe subconsciously, he knows if he does a little better, then the boxing world might actually do him a solid and look out for him, right? And give him the decision. It's certainly possible. But yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua looks slim. He looks trim. Looks like he's trained hard, which is obviously very good from his perspective. And Oleksandr Usyk looks a little more defined to me. It's hard to say. It's hard to say whether Usyk is bigger, but he certainly looks more defined, to me at least. And maybe he knows what the deal is here. Maybe he knows that he himself has to be more aggressive in this fight. Maybe we're sitting here talking about Joshua having to be more aggressive, but it's Usyk who is going to take that approach. You know, I'm not really sure how I feel about both guys going into this one, how they're going to approach it. I'm really not. But it makes it intriguing. It definitely makes it intriguing. I'm looking forward to it. This fight has definitely kind of creeped up on me because obviously when it was first announced, there was very little promotion, and honestly, it didn't really feel like a big deal. But now we're here in Fight Week. It feels a little more real now. It feels like, you know, we are just around the corner. So I am now looking forward to this fight, and we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it plays out. And I'm not even sure in which way I'm going yet surrounding this fight. Part of me thinks Joshua wins controversially on points. Part of me thinks he's going to get blasted out and stopped. But having said that, I mean, I think Joshua can win this fight in a legit manner, by the way. I think he can, you know, on any given night, I'm sure he can knock anybody out. I think he's got the power. He's got power in both hands. He's explosive, you know, big dude. He can definitely win this fight legit, no doubt about it, but I don't know. Got a lot of mixed feelings going into this fight. I'm not sure where I'm at right now. But yeah, share your thoughts below. I'm looking forward to it. Peace.